Afternoon. Welcome to lunch break with Ekow Mensah. Today is Sunday, and you know Sunday is a moment of introspection. This is episode 17 of lunch break, and I'm hoping that you've learned something. Yesterday, I got some feedback from my family about my videos. My mom consistently watches and tells me her feedback about what I'm saying, how I'm dressed, and the things I should not do. And my sisters are always giving me feedback about the length of my video, but how amazing they are in general. So I'm trying to keep them as short as I can. Thank you so much for the support from my family and from all the friends that actually find time to join or to watch the video later. Today being Sunday, moments of introspection, we are looking into ourselves and then figuring out, specific things that we need to be pondering over just to, put ourselves in some sort of a state or a perspective to evaluate who we are, where we are, where we are going, and also do that in reference to, what we believe our purpose is in life, what God's expectations are of us, and whether or not we are really living or just surviving. So Sundays we do this, and then we just take a walk through life and then figure things out together. So today, in a very short, brief moment, I want to ask this question: are you happy? All right, that's the only thing I came to ask you today. Are you genuinely, truly happy with yourself, with your life, with how far you've come, with all the things you've done, with, your life in general? Are you happy? That's all I came to ask today. Today, I didn't come to talk too much. I really just came to ask you, are you happy? Inside, do you feel happy? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel that you're living a happy life? Somebody said to me some time back when I posted this question on my timeline, are you happy? And somebody said, I am content, not necessarily happy, because happiness is a feeling that is fleeting. It changes, and sometimes happiness is based on circumstances, situations, and things that occur in our lives. So sometimes we tend to be happy because of expectations met. Sometimes we tend to be happy because of nice gestures that people do for us. Sometimes we tend to be happy basically for reasons that make us happy. But beyond happiness is a feeling of contentment or fulfillment. And for me, my life is consistently about living a fulfilled life, because beyond happiness, which is based on a feeling, is whether or not we are living a life of fulfillment. But then that goes back to asking this question: what is your life really about? I don't know if you found that, but one of the things that I want to tie to the question, are you happy, is, are you really genuinely living the life that you've been purposed to live? Is there a preset life for all of us to live? And is it that when we find the intersection between the preset life and our life now, is that when we tend to be happy? So are you a believer that there's a preset life and all of us are supposed to live according to that preset? Or you genuinely believe that the next chapter of your life, the next page of your life is unknown, and it's a consistent adventure to discover the things that you can do and how far you can go? What is your belief, and what do you think your purpose is in life? Personally, I do not believe that life is supposed to be so routinish, like you grow up, you finish school, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, and then you grow old, you retire, and you die. I don't believe in that. I think that is such a status quo that is unfulfilling. I mean, if that's what life is all about, then why do we keep giving birth? For them to just follow the same pattern of growing, being an adult, getting a job, getting married, having kids, and then growing old and dying. Is that what life is all about? Because if that was what life was all about, then how do we get to enjoy things like the computer, the internet, the lights, the air condition, and everything else that is around us? I mean, how have you genuinely contributed to making life better for someone else? And I don't know how many of you ask yourself these questions, because a lot of the things we know, we use A lot of things that make our life easier, we don't even know who invented them or who created them, beyond just reusing them. And we don't care as long as we've been able to afford it. I mean, but the thing is, if someone hadn't introduced these things that is now making our lives easy, would our lives be as easy as they are now? And the question goes back to you: what are you doing that others can use in your lifetime or beyond that would make their lives a bit easier to live? Is it just you going to work and coming back home? Is it you just taking care of your families and your kids? You know, is that it? For some of you, that's probably your vision, because you probably hadn't enjoyed that whilst you're growing up. So your biggest dream is to provide that comfort for your children and your wife as well, which is a good thing. All right, but there are things that seem right to you, but then they may not necessarily be in accordance to the will of God. But I know that it is never the will of God for your children and your family to be deprived or poor. It's not. So those are fundamental things. But beyond those fundamental things is a question about what is it that you really do need to do to contribute to making life easier and happier for other people in your lifetime or beyond. And when you really do find yourself doing that, that is when you find your source of consistent happiness and fulfillment. What is it that you do or you are doing every day that is going to build things, situations, experiences that would make other people's lives easier? And it's tied to the gifts and talents that we are freely giving. I keep saying these things. When you find yourself functioning in your purpose, your life becomes less burdensome. So if your life is currently burdensome, it's only an indication that you probably are in the wrong lane, or you're trying to do things that you're not supposed to do, or you're trying to copy someone's life, or you're trying to conform to the things of this world. Because when you do find your purpose, I'm not saying it's going to be extremely easy, because even Jesus, knowing what his purpose was to bring salvation, had to go through crucifixion. So it's not that it's going to be easy. There'll be moments where you are in pain. There'll be moments where you are hurt. There'll be moments where you feel like this is not worth it. But when you're very certain that this is not your will, but it is the will of God, you still go through that, because at the end of it all, you still find fulfillment. What is it that you're doing that will make other people's lives easier? And when you find that, that is really going to be the sustainable source of happiness for you. And that's why you see some people that run orphanages and they are so happy and fulfilled, because they've been able to figure out what their purposes are. And please don't be deceived. A lot of us really genuinely think that when we talk about purpose, the will of God and all that, it's about charity and doing all those charitable philanthropic things. And I see that a lot of young people are doing NGOs and all that. There's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes even building a multi-billion-dollar business is the will of God, because some people's purpose is to be rich, to finance the advancement of the gospel and the will of God. So, and you see that making money comes easily to them. And it's not because they're unbelievers. They are Christians, but they've been given a purpose to make money, to finance certain things that is in line with God's will. Okay, you may not necessarily be that kind, but then you may be having a purpose of invention, coming up with ideas, coming up with innovations, coming up with things, or even supporting others. Some people like to be at the back, but are very effective. Some people are called the engines of life. You don't see them, but they power the vehicle. All right. So the fact that you're not out there and people are not seeing you and all that does not mean that you're not living a life of purpose. But some people are, by birth, supposed to be enablers. So they push people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So pay attention to the things that bring you fulfillment, because beyond happiness is fulfillment, and that should be our pursuit all the time. Because when you find fulfillment in life, you've actually found the intersection of God's will and then your will. Because sometimes your will is influenced by what is going on in the world. All right. and it might not necessarily be in line with the will of God. But the moment you find yourself in line with the will of God and you're living a purposeful life, you find happiness every day. And beyond the happiness is fulfillment. And that should be our focus. Finding fulfillment every day. And it comes from nothing but living the purpose of God for your life. What is it that you're doing that will make life easy for others whilst you're alive and beyond your death? Are you happy? What is making you unhappy? Is it because of the things that you don't have? You don't have a house at a certain age. You don't have a car at a certain age. You don't have a job at a certain age. You don't have a husband or a wife at a certain age. You don't have kids at a certain age. So is that what is making you unhappy? You don't have money in the bank. Is that what is making you unhappy? Why do you need these things? Is it to make your life easier? Is it to make other people's life easier? What is the reason why you're feeling such level of unhappiness, even towards depression? Is it because of the things that the world expects of you that you're not getting? Why are you so unhappy? And who says you're supposed to get married? Who says that is within your calling or your purpose in life? And why have you magnified your value towards being a married woman or a married man? Like, if you're not, it means that you're not valuable. When did that become the ultimate source of happiness? How do you know that whether or not it's God's will for you? You don't. But everything around you says that that's how life is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a process from young to old to married to kids to retired and then to death. So that having, been your focus all these years, you are consistently unhappy because you're going out of the norm. Let me encourage you today. The life is not about the routine of life. It is about finding your purpose and living each day purposefully. And then when you do that, you will see that you are not just happy, but you're fulfilled. And that's where you get to the point where everybody else seem not to understand why you are so happy and why you are always smiling. But you know that the source of your happiness and the source of your smile is not from the fulfillment of expectations of the world, but from the fulfillment of expectations of God. If you don't know how you ended up on this earth, how do you know how you're supposed to live beyond the one that brought you here? I hope it's been useful. I hope it's been a good time with you. Just think about it. Why are you not happy? And if you find the reasons why, you can write it down. I'm not happy because I don't have this. I'm not happy because I don't. And you will see that anything you write that has have is because you won't be happy because of possessions and not because of purpose. The moment your source of happiness is derived from the things you have, you've probably missed the way. Because honestly, those that are wealthy and probably are giving the gift of making money eventually want to give all the money away to charity. Just listen to all the wealthy people in this world. Eventually, their fulfillment comes from giving all the money away. So they've been gifted to make money because everything they touch turns to gold. It's not everybody that has that. So that's why when I hear people praying all the time about, everything they touch turning into gold, it's funny because it's not everybody that has been given that gift of making wealth. But it doesn't mean that you can't be rich. Because being rich is not just a number, but it's about being content with how much you have. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you do enjoy your Sunday. And as you take some time to rest and think about your life, I hope you would figure out, if you're not happy already, why you're so unhappy. And if you do write it down, and then you see that everything is about what you don't have yet, then you are probably not living a life of purpose. You're just trying to live a life of possessions. And that's not why you're here. Thank you very much, Dovi. Thank you, Nana, for joining. I hope Dovi gets to know Nana because those are two amazing people. Thank you, Nah. Always good to hear from you. All right, guys. So enjoy your Sunday, and like I said, ask yourself, probably in the mirror, am I happy? If the answer is no or maybe, find out why. And if all the reasons you give to you not being happy is because of something you don't have yet, you're not living a life of purpose, you're living a life of possessions. Check that and go back to God. And when He tells you what to do, be humble and do it. Because all things will be added to you if you find yourself in the will of God. Don't forget that. Some things are probably being taken away from you because you're not living a life of purpose. And the moment you start, everything else that is good for you will be added to you. Take care and see you tomorrow at 1. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye-bye.